Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Wright and I'm the new Public Information Officer for the City of Leavenworth. Today on First City Focus, we will find out how one small pothole can mean big problems for public works employees, water pollution control, and the City of Leavenworth in general. Stay with us, most likely this will get really messy. I'm here with Charlie Klinger, Superintendent of Waste Pollution Control, and Charlie's just going to give me a little bit of background about the Sewar project and how it came to fruition.
We got a call on a Friday night that there was a sinkhole in the intersection of Broadway and Shawnee. We met down there with the street department, took a look at a small sinkhole in the middle of the street. They blocked off the street at that point, and we agreed to meet with Mike McDonald and Bob Petzwald on Saturday morning at 8 o'clock to take a look at the situation, see what we had. We met down there, found the sinkhole appeared to be 6 to 8 feet deep. It was approximately a 5 foot by 9 foot area. It was determined in order to keep the road open, keep Broadway open to traffic, stabilize the road. We had Lexico come in, square the hole up, fill it in with AB3 to keep the street in good shape.
And so these are the plans of the actual sewer.
Right.
Today we plan on going down there, plugging up the sewer, detouring it a bit, and then putting a camera down?
That's correct. What we're doing today is what we have, and I don't know if you can see it here, we have two 18-inch lines that come down Shawnee and curve and go down Broadway. There's a failure in there somewhere, and in order to determine kind of the best plan of action, we need to see what's in there. We've had our camera down there in this line before. We had a crew out there, basically worked all night from I think 1 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock in the morning to try and camera in a low flow condition. Flow was still too high, so what we're going to try and do today is bypass the flow a little bit to get that line emptied out so we can see what we got.
Great. Well, let's go see the plugs and the equipment we're going to use.
All right.
Now I'm here with Chris. Chris is going to give us a little lowdown on the camera that's actually going to go into the sewer. Chris, how does this end up working?
Well, basically, we know we're going into an 18-inch pipe, so I had to set this camera up for 18 inches by using spacers. This camera can go from 6 inches up to 36, depending on how big the pipe is.
Okay.
So right now I got it at 18, it's already set up and ready to go. And basically we use our generator in the back over there to give it a power supply. And then we have our DVD recorder. So anytime we go in there, we can start recording where we're at, what manholes we're in, how far we're going. And this actually gives us approximate footage on where we're at. And up here on our TV screen, we can see pretty much everything. It just looks like you're going through a regular tunnel or a pipe. You can see service connections and whatnot. And basically when they're pumping today, they're gonna pump the water out of that line so we can see the entire pipe, so we don't have nothing in the way of the camera, because the flow right now is so high that the camera's going underwater.
Right.
So basically we're gonna get the water pumped out and then send this camera in so we can see where the damage is and what they need to do to repair it.
Great. And that's the remote control?
This is right here. This is our hand command.
Okay.
And it's somewhat confusing at first, but when you've worked on it as long as I have, it's kind of easier. Basically everything's done here. We go in and burn a DVD for City Hall so that they can look at it and determine what needs to be done if we find a problem. So
That sounds great. I can't wait to get started.
Yep, thanks.
right, Chad's going to be supervising the crew out here today. Chad, give me a little bit of background of what's happening.
Okay, well, we've got some damage under the street. We're trying to get our camera in there to see what's going on and what's causing the hole in the road. So what we're doing is we're diverting the flow by way of bypass pumps from these manholes to the other downstream manholes to avoid putting water in the side we need to have dry so we can see what's going on with our camera.
Okay, and to do that, you first have to put a plug in, and
Yes.
then pump it into this different line.
Yes.
Okay.
There'll be a ball plug installed. We're going to try to avoid that. If at all possible, we'll try to just go by way of bypass pump.
Okay.
If the pump pumps on its own, we'll go that route. But if that doesn't work, then we'll install a plug to fill the manhole deep enough so that we can get suction and get the bypass pump to transfer the liquid.
Okay, and how hard is it to get those pumps down in there?
It's pretty hard.
Yeah?
Yeah, the hose is pretty heavy. Takes quite a few people to do it.
Okay, can I try?
Yeah.
Can I help out?
If you want, but I don't recommend it.
Okay. All right, so they were trying to avoid this, but they are going to have to plug up the hole first, make the water rise a bit, and then they're going to drain it out and push it into this other one. So they're doing a little bit more than they expected they would have to, but they said, you know, they were trying to avoid it. Usually it happens where, you know, they might have to plug. So that's what they're doing now. Now it's been a couple days and I'm here with Mike McDonald. He's Director of Public Works and he's gonna tell us a little bit about what he saw in the video of the sewer line. He's analyzed it and now he's gonna tell us exactly how we move forward with the project.
Well, we looked at the videotape and it was quite an exercise to get the tape in the first place where we had to shut down the streets and the sewers. But we've looked over the tape and find that the whole intersection of all of these different lines is very torn up, is a polite way to put it, and really there's no way to fix it without actually digging it up and replacing it. We've looked at a lot of alternatives. The most interesting thing we found was the more we tried to make it better, the more complicated it became, the more area it became torn up, the more expensive it became. And ultimately, we got right back to where we started, that what we really need to do is simply remove the old system and put the new system back in essentially the same place.
And this is a problem that's becoming more and more prevalent in the city, isn't it? With all these old sewer lines dating back sometimes 100 years. How often do you see this happening?
With Leavenworth being the oldest city in Kansas, this is the oldest infrastructure also in the state of Kansas. And we've had similar problems to this in the past. I think a very, very similar situation 15, 20 years ago at Cherokee and Broadway, and also over at 6th Street south of Cherokee. And in both of those cases was essentially a remove and replace operation. We do study the sewers, we have a TV crew, but the truth is the larger the sewers are, the less likely they are to get studied because they're simply a lot more stable and not subject to damage. We have ways to fix things. We can line sewers, we can pull another pipe through them, or we can roll out a pipe that's this in situ form or similar process where you create a new pipe inside an old one. We can replace manholes, we can repair manholes. We have a lot of tools at our disposal that weren't available even 15 years ago, and we try to find the most cost-effective way to approach the problem.
And for this problem, what do you plan on doing?
Well, after studying the heck out of the tapes and talking to a couple of contractors about the way they look at the project, probably just going to have to close the intersection for probably 45 to 60 days, and we're going to remove almost all of the sewer pipes, the curved brick lines, and replace them with new plastic lines. They'll construct some new manholes and refurbish a couple of existing manholes. We looked at finding better ways to do it, and interestingly enough, the way they built it when this was built probably in the late 1800s, early 1900s, was very similar to what we would do today given similar circumstances. So they've done their homework, and I'm glad that we've done ours.
So this one small sinkhole that was maybe what, a foot wide, a foot square, turned into how big of a process? Like how many actual streets are you going to have to take out?
We're probably going to have to close the whole intersection at Broadway and Shawnee to remove all of the pipe and give the equipment of the contractor. It has to have a place to sit, it needs to have a place to work, and then if you have dump trucks hauling stuff in or out. So there's no real safe way to do this with letting the traffic run through the system. It's going to be a big hole, and we're going to try to make it go as quickly as possible. We've studied several different ways to put new material back in the hole to fill it up so it'll be filled correctly but quickly as well.
Well, thanks for your time, Mike, and I will keep you guys updated. Stay tuned to First City Focus. I will let you know all the information on this project and more projects as we move forward. Thanks for your time.